Saturday, January 24th, for the first of our Nerd Council of Doom meetings here in the year of 2026, which hopefully will not be a repeat of 2020. Gentlemen,
2020. Oh, good Lord.
Gentlemen, as we sit here, I would like to propose a rule change.
He asked me.
A rule change for next year. I would like to make a motion that in January 2027, we switch locations for where our layers are. I am tired of being in the effing north when it's cold as hell, expecting over a foot of snow. I vote that we go on a rotation. And next year, starting with me, we'll be down in the swamps of Florida.
Well, I have to tell you, I have been looking at job openings of the dioceses of Arizona, New Mexico, Hawaii.
Smart.
It's a dry heat. And just for Bob Jester, I do have my slide projector all ready to go here. I have even got a little all ready. So
yes, we will be showing vacation slides in the not too distant future. I believe the Dungeon Delver has 96 slides of various forms of Philly cheesesteak.
Right. Yeah, no, I actually well, I mean, we can save my prattle about Paige for later on, but I did shoot a goodly amount of B-roll from the dealer's floor, which I personally think the dealer's floor, the vendors' booths are always the more interesting places around conventions, because I mean, when you go to people's tables, unless somebody has a really elaborate setup or they're being exceptionally theatrical, I mean, what do you have? 5 guys who are probably balding, the size of Volkswagen Beetles, maybe a couple of weedy people in Ren Fair get-ups, playing a role-playing game and not really looking up and interacting with the camera. But if you walk down the vendor area, you get to see all kinds of stuff. Who's got new RPG stuff, who's still selling old school, who's got cool terrain, who's got cool dice. So personally, I think that's your better. And then keynotes and stuff at conventions are very iffy for me. Like I want to attend them, but at the same time, it's like, I could be over in playing like Hero Quest or something like that.
Yeah, I found that running a convention and wanting to get some pictures to give people an idea of the atmosphere, it just ends up like a whole bunch of people at meetings. That's what it looks like. Yeah. Some people at very casual meetings where they've all brought dice for some reason, because they're just sitting there with paper in front of them.
Dice, you say?
One person is standing up and talking and gesticulating, and the other people are all like that. It's just a room full of people at meetings, and in the background, there's somebody selling some really weird stuff at a table. But
yeah,
are you saying you don't keep dice on you all the time?
I do. I have my dice book right there.
But we can get into all of that, I think, in good order, gentlemen. Dungeon Minister, the mind control race satellite. How's that progressing?
Well, I have to say it's been a little bit of a fly in the ointment there. I had it set to World Dominate, I thought, but I misspelled when I typed it in, and it went to World Dominate. And so things have gotten stupider. My apologies.
I see. I've got you. That explains why I tried to start my start my car with my house keys the other day.
It explains almost everything, really, when it comes down to it.
42.
Yang, how about the How about the mutated chinchillas? How's that going?
Unfortunately, I needed to sacrifice them all to make my hat of head warming +5.
Dang it.
It's been that kind of a winter.
I go on vacation for 5 days to sunny Philadelphia, and this place goes to hell. Hey, Jack Lost Lore Scholar threw us a super chat over on Delver's Dungeon. £2 British. Thank you very much, Jack. We appreciate that. The dungeon minister is training at the fly. Wow. They've gone straight for the blue material out there in the audience.
How can you tell?
Oh, but anyway, yes, saber-toothed chinchilla, mutated chinchillas. That's right. But anyway, so what have we seen and done and consumed here lately, gentlemen? Yang, I think you put yourself in the agony booth last night, did you not?
I did. And all I have to say is you two damn well better appreciate it. As I, God help me, watched the first episode of Starfleet Academy.
Just on that note, I've got a picture up you can share. That kind of says it all.
Yeah.
This is only going to get worse. And I think so far they are proving it in spades.
Yes. So for anyone who has not seen it, it was not great. It was something I had to stop about every 10 minutes and go take a break, do some laundry, file some taxes, flagellate myself, anything to distract from what I just saw. But I did make it through eventually. It starts with a 20-minute thinly veiled allegory of the political kids in cages thing, separating a mother from a child, and which, you know, to me is like, well, you know, it does seem like a good idea that you shouldn't put a child in jail, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's swiftly
premise,
downhill from there.
Yes.
The premise, for those of you who are fortunate enough to not know what we're talking about, is basically this is what is it, 900 years in the future? So they basically just delete on everything.
Yeah.
Okay. They nuke everything right out of the gate. You know, when you set something 900 years in the future, it's about as relevant to talk about Kirk, Scotty, Bones, you know, the original cast, as it would be for you know, I don't know, an aircraft carrier captain to try and apply like the tactics of for Sir Francis Drake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, they can basically do what they want but slap a veneer on it. But what has happened is, I guess hyperspace or warp space has rotted. Like it
somehow Emperor Palpatine survived.
Somehow Palpatine survived. Another 2 pound chat from Jack Lost Lore Scholar. Thank you very much, young man. You need to be keeping that. You formula and diapers to be buying soon. Nice. Our man on the ground, our agent in the UK over there.
Is Lost Lore going to be a found papa?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yes.
So
just on your point, I did actually look it up to figure out what the heck they were talking about. The burn. There was a story reason.
Burns.
Apparently all the dilithium crystals in the galaxy exploded at the same time wiping out all the racist Starfleets and interstellar travel. And this was because there was a race called a Suliban who lived in a nebula, and he was very sad, and that made them all blow up. And apparently, this was one of like explained in one of the later seasons of Discovery, which nobody watched.
So it literally begins with a concept of emotional incontinence, and that informs the rest of the series.
I think incontinence is quite the apt word.
Yeah. So, but basically by doing this, they get to delete everything. They get to just completely go in and say, la, none of that matters. Nothing that happened then matters. I mean, I get time skips, right? Mm-hmm. And as much as I was never a fan of New Star Trek, and boys and girls, in case you're curious, by New Star Trek, I mean anything that's not the original series, the animated series, or the movies having to do with the original series. Like I loved right out of the gate in the very first episode of TNG, they had DeForest Kelley cameo. Mm-hmm. You know, he was like 120 years old, you know, but then they came back, you know, they had Sulu show up, they had Scotty show up. Honestly, I think the only original series cast member that they didn't have on the show, like bridge crew personnel, was Uhura and Kirk show up at some point in and you know, if you go with the actually, I have seen front to back one episode of DS9, and it is Trials and Tribulations. So technically, yeah, they did. Yeah. We did have all of the original crew show up.
Well, I was pretty much with it through DS9.
Yeah,
and then Voyager came along and thought, oh, this is bad Star Trek.
Voyager.
Yes.
And you're like, wow, you have no idea. I was so innocent then to think that was bad Star Trek.
To look at Voyager and think, oh, this is terrible Star Trek.
I had it. 7 of 9. Got to put that out there.
Yes. 7 of 9.
She made
Jerry
it easier
Ryan,
to watch.
Who is probably the reason we ended up with President Barack Obama, but that's a conspiracy theory we can discuss later. But yeah, so they basically did a 800-year time skip and deleted everything. That just like, you know, so that's where we are. That's the chief premise of the show. And Yang, tell us, I mean, God, where do you start, man?
It just gets worse from there. So they're putting the band back together. They are basically reforming Starfleet. Now that I guess the guy is not sad anymore and dilithium crystals are back or something. So they're building a new facility in San Francisco. They get a woman captain. She's like 400 years old and for some reason still only a captain, who was living on Bajor for reasons, who used to work in Starfleet, and she's old enough to remember what that was like. Sure, why not? So she puts together a team, including that young boy who was taken from his mother, who had spent like the last 20 years on the run, and who just committed grand theft auto by stealing a space shuttle and assaulting 3 police officers. So yeah, Starfleet material.
And it's going to be some sort of like reclamation, you know, it's going to be a redemption thing for her to reconnect this kid with his mother somehow.
Yes, she always felt bad that the young boy jumped out of a window to avoid having to go to a group home. So she spent the next 20 years teaching students on Bajor stuff and things. So they're on, you get a whole group of people. You have a Klingon pacifist who is either too afraid or just does not like fighting. You have a pleasantly plump woman who is half Jem'Hadar, even though they die after 8 years, and half Klingon.
And don't
Would've
have
been-
genders.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Would have been an interesting mating ritual. Then you've got there was somebody who swallowed their comm badge before they got to the initial check-in. And then there's a photonic, because they brought back, speaking of bad Trek, they brought back the Doctor from Voyager. And now apparently there's a race or a planet of holograms somewhere or something.
The Doctor from Voyager, who is a hologram, but has aged.
Well, he said he induced aging into his program to make humans comfortable.
Oh,
And
sure.
that was nice of him. That was very nice.
Sure. That's what's going to make me feel better. The non-existent Doctor, who's actually just, well, it looks like a little ball of something flying around in the air, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That talking to me is gonna make me feel better if it looks old.
And I will point out, since he technically was on Voyager, he's like 800 years old, but he looks like a 65, 70-year-old man. So, might want to speed that up a little, Doc.
Yeah. Funnily enough, he looks just as old as the actor is.
Yeah. Now, if they had him look like the Crypt Keeper, I would be very interested. But they didn't choose the wise thing.
Oh well.
So you have
Could
these
added
band.
a gore element.
Yeah, you have this band of goofballs who are training to be officers. And then there's like the hot chick who's a total jerk, and like I guess he'd be the jock who can go out in space without a suit. So they form a team along with this captain. If I point this way, yeah, that captain over there.
Played by
Who-
Holly
who's
Hunter.
Holly Hunter, who needs her dentures to be fixed in place, and who
Mhm.
sits in her chair like a cat lady with a book. She lounges in her chair, curled all up. It's the most.
Yes. Well, okay. So that's the thing is, I wouldn't say like a lady in her book. She like a teenage girl. She's just like flopping all over, for whatever reason, they lost the ability to correct eyesight in the hundreds of years. I guess that was dilithium activated too or something. So
Burn.
she wears glasses, and and it's just weird. So part of the problem is Trek, at least from the new Treks, certainly from Deep Space Nine, they always had goofy episodes where it sort of made fun of itself. But it was always done kind of in a respectful way and kind of with like a veneer of normality to them. So even though they would make fun of themselves, like with funny Ferengi episodes, it never devalued what was going on. But Starfleet has always been a quasi-military organization, right? So you need a
Always.
certain amount of structure to with which the staff must endure. And in this, like who would accept a captain sitting like that in a chair? Who would accept? So the young orphan boy. Not only did he steal the shuttle earlier, when he's on this ship, they're on the USS Phoenix,
Athena.
heading.
Isn't it?
Athena, that's it.
Athena.
Yeah, heading towards Earth,
Wisdom.
and he immediately hacks into
Wisdom.
their internal communications, which allows a bad guy to find them and then launch an attack against them. That kind of stuff you just can't have, man. So the question is, what am I supposed to get out of this? And who exactly is this for? And I come with the conclusion, God, I don't know.
I'm going to tell you guys something, and this may make people uncomfortable, but before we grow so big that we don't dare say this for risk of demonetization or cancellation, the one and only reason, and I promise you this is true. I promise you this is true. The only reason that the captain walks around barefoot and we see her with her feet propped up, facing the camera, someone high up in production has a foot fetish.
Yes. Yes.
Someone high up in production has a feet kink, and that is why they do that.
Yes.
There was a producer of a lot of kids shows, Dan somebody or the other on Nickelodeon, and he was forever doing feet pics. He was forever the teenage girls that would star on a show. They'd have to step in Jell-O. They'd have to walk through raw eggs. They'd sit on a couch like she sits on the couch with their feet up facing the camera. That is the only reason, the sole, solitary, single reason that she is like that. Don't kid yourself. Don't sit and go, oh, it's just a pose. Someone has a feet kink. That's why the scenes are blocked that way.
I think it is a self-insertion thing, and the person who wrote the character, that's them, that's her. Because all of the characters, no matter what age they are, no matter what station they're at, no matter what their rank is, their role, they all talk like women in their 30s online. I entirely expect the Klingon to start doing bird hands, at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I swear, in the next episode, if Holly Hunter walks out with a Stanley Cup with the Starfleet logo on it, and it's full of
Starbucks,
not Starbucks, it's full of Chianti or something, then I would not be surprised. I would a wine mom cat lady captain on the bridge would not shock me in the least. If this was their attempt to make guys like me go back and look at V'ger and Star Trek Babylon 5 and Next Generation favorably, well, mission accomplished. Congratulations.
I think it was Jorge who said earlier that, and people said that Lower Decks was bad. It's like they realize that some of the stuff they've made is bad, and then they have to go back and put something out worse. It's like the latest round of Star Wars making the prequels look good. And you say, well, maybe Jar Jar wasn't that bad after all.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. If you said, hey Bill, do you want to do you want to watch Attack of the Clones, or do you want to watch season 1 of The Acolyte? I'm like, get me that DVD with Attack of the Clones, please. Let's watch. Let's watch that.
So I guess now I may have a little bit different of a take.
Good night, everybody.
Boom, Luke from the 3-point line.
Acolyte Luke, I think we might have to raise your level from Acolyte.
Yeah, you might just the council recognizes you, but we do not grant you the title.
Yes. Now, to me, when I look at this seems to me to try to be solving a problem that a lot of these older franchises have, and we will get to that on this topic a little bit when we talk about the He-Man trailer. But a lot of these franchises are
He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
We are talking about we're popular with older people, right? So the three of us are old farts now, and I think they're looking to make Trek relevant to younger people, which is why you would want like a Star Trek Academy, so they, younger people could sort of get into the universe and potentially age up with the franchise, which from a marketing standpoint makes a lot of sense if it was done well.
I gotta say, yes and no.
Mhm.
The relevant thing, because of my profession, I've been hearing about relevance my entire career, and all of the people who have joined our parish who are in their 30s or younger, to a person, has come because we are utterly irrelevant to the culture outside. Because they can get the culture outside.
Anywhere. Yeah.
They come because it's something counter to the world. And oh, yeah, you know what? Like, there's plenty of culture out there that is the slop like this. How about something that's not? I mean, did they not see the Top Gun movie just rocket to the top of the box office? Did they not see that? Maybe it's because it was a good movie and they didn't try to pander. No. Sorry, rant over. I'm gonna eat a candy and be quiet now.
No, rant on, man. I mean, I think that's a very valid point, and
Mhm.
let me tell you something. There was, to my mind, and if people want to disagree with me, that's fine. To my mind, there was a very good youth-oriented science fiction show when I was a kid, and it was called Space Academy. It came on. It was a Saturday morning show. They even had some. James Doohan was in it. He played an instructor at the Space Academy. And it was one of those. I think it was Filmation, maybe. But it lasted for a couple seasons. It wasn't great TV, and I'm sure if I went back and watched it now, I'd be like, oh, that's a little cringy. But it was a decent enough show. I never felt watching it like I'm being pandered to. It was not greetings fellow kids level stuff. It was a decent enough science fiction show. Notable thing about Space Academy, this is for Death Angels because I know he's deep into the nuts and bolts sci-fi lore. They had a shuttle on Space Academy. They would do like 2 or 3 process shots and then just reuse those shots over and over and over and over again throughout seasons. But their shuttle was the Ark 2. If you guys remember the show Ark 2, they had this big this big Land Rover vehicle that traveled around in the show Ark 2, but they took the model for it and just used like the front 10 feet and stuck some Greeblies all over it, and we're like, boom, here's your shuttle, your full-size prop, and we need a shuttle to show in the landing bay. But the point that I'm making is there are, if you want to pick these shows up and watch them, hey, wow, a lot of supers out there. Thank you very much for Luke Vapor and Luke Vapor. He's putting my kids through college, everybody. But the point that I'm making is not the props or when the shows were on or anything like that. Is, guys who fought in the Second World War were making solid science fiction shows that didn't pander, still had a positive message, and were eminently watchable. From big stuff that we all know about, Trek, down to little stuff that very few people know about, like Space Academy. It's a simple formula, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put a lady who looks like she probably smells like patchouli and cat pee curled up in a semi-fetal position like she's quickening right now in the captain's chair, pandering to some production runners' weird feet fetishes and screw everything up. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And as far as the messaging goes, and sorry, chuds, Star Trek was always woke. It addressed modern issues as a veneer on a good storytelling mechanism. This is a veneer of science fiction laid thinly over an ABC after school special level of thinking.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
It is like Disney got a hold of it, and not
Yeah.
like
No.
Disney's for kids division got a hold of it, because it's so,
Yeah.
it's like it's like the first Harry Potter movie. It doesn't even have the gravitas of later Harry Potter movies. It's like the first
Yep.
Harry Potter, we're like, oh, it's all wonderful, which is fine for the first Harry Potter movie for 11-year-olds.
Mm.
Wow.
So Yang, are there anything that Trek fans can hang their hats on with this? Is there anything like, well, there was a space battle that was cool. We had some photon torpedoes go off. We had some hand phaser, the sound, from the hand phasers. We got that. Anything like that? Anything in here salvageable?
No. One of the other
Oof.
problems is the special effects look like bad AI. Which, I mean, like, for whatever reason, it's all the overblown color palette. Like, everything is neon, like a bad live streamer's studio.
I know.
And I guess some of the special effects are okay. They've updated some things, like now there's like a view, like instead of carrying around the pads like they did in Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, now like they have like a projection from their comm badge, and like
Iron
some
Man.
of the things, some of the things were updated, which okay, but nothing we haven't seen before.
No. Hey, you mentioned space battles. There are torpedoes or these sort of energy weapons that are approaching, and the officer who detects them shouts out they're approaching from the port side, and then they show the shot and they hit the starboard side. I mean,
maybe they're like smart weapons, and maybe they're smart weapons, and they curved around the hull and port side. Haha! I'll show them.
Port side, starboard. Who needs to know that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Maybe that changed in 800 years. Maybe cultural norms changed.
Yes. Yes.
Don't misdirection me.
Michael Dale asks, are the same children's television laws in place from the golden age of cartoons, but just don't apply because everything is cable/streaming now? Would over-the-air shows still need a He-Man-esque closing?
Yeah, I think that stuff, when you're talking about stuff coming out of Foggy Bottom, it's very much it is vitrified, it is ossified. Things do not change. And my wife and I were talking about this the other day. If you listen to terrestrial radio, which I actually used to do fairly regularly for a while, and then I just said, I'm putting my phone on Bluetooth and listening to Led Zeppelin all day. The hell with this. So here's a perfect example. Money, arguably the most played song on radio from 1973, probably until the early 2000s. Money by Pink Floyd. Mm-hmm. There's a line in the song, money, it's a hit. Don't give me that do goody good bullshit. Now, until the 90s, there was any number of fades, cuts, drops, edits, so you wouldn't hear bullshit. Mm-hmm. And then terrestrial radio stations just started to unclench. You'd hear Petty and singing "You Don't Know How It Feels," so let's get to the point, let's roll another joint. And what was funny was a substitution to clean that up was let's hit another joint. So it's like,
well, and that's where society started going downhill.
That's where it started going downhill, right? So but they they started to loosen up. And then there was the wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl.
Oh, yes.
Ancient
history.
Ancient history. But as soon as they did that, the FCC did a heel turn and we're like, that's it. No more. No. You guys, we're not, you're going back to the edited versions. You're not going to do this, that, and the other. Some guy napping in the front office of the FCC. Huh? What? They did what? What now? And somebody, they probably had a beta tape because, these are old Washington types, slots the thing and plays in that scene. And he's like, shut it all down, and TV stations and radio stations have to start taking the fines seriously again and that sort of thing. So we are back at the moment where, yes, you can't do certain things before Watershed. No, you can't say certain things on terrestrial TV, which, like, if you're streaming something and you're watching, I don't know, Altered Carbon, I can't, I literally, I joke about us getting canceled or kicked off the air.
Mm-hmm.
There's scenes in Altered Carbon that if I described them, YouTube would shut us down.
Yeah, it was a great show.
It was a great show. So if you're watching that and you're like, yeah, I've watched the last episode, or I'm going to stream more of this later, and you flip over to terrestrial broadcast TV, it's like, you're like, wait, did that guy just say gosh darn it when he got shot in the arm? Did this woman just invite that guy up to her apartment and they kissed and then he left? Yes, it is very much, terrestrial broadcast TV is still very much locked down.
Yeah, hippie-ki-yay, mother plonker.
Yeah, exactly. I'm tired of all these mother-loving snakes on this long forgotten plane. It's like Luke threw a couple of super chats in, and I'm sorry, Luke, my control panel on Restream and Yang's and Dungeon Ministers as it doesn't. So I'm going to scroll up and look over here.
I have them here. Okay, you got two. So the first one was Kurtzman had a decade to figure out Trek, but put out flop after flop, Lower Decks, mildly amusing, Strange New Worlds, Momentary Promise, but by and large terrible. Not by and large, completely terrible.
Yeah.
I have to disagree with you there, Luke.
It's clear. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yang.
Well, I was going to say this is a problem with a lot of studios. And it's that, they picked a path to go on, and you've like staffed up the company, you staffed up production to go in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, let's be perfectly honest, back in 2015, I hate to say the woke agenda, but basically that kind of stuff had a lot of promise. We're going to get a lot of writers of certain who identify in certain ways to produce a series, as opposed to people who are good writers. They decided they're going to go with certain storylines. And these are not people who, like the Star Trek writers, they all, when we got, like, let's say, Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, they all had experience writing before. And so they maybe weren't at the top of their games yet, but you could see that they're on a trajectory to get better. The people they hired were a lot in a large capacity, brand new. So they had people working on the stuff that had no experience with what worked. You had Kurtzman, who's apparently very good salesman. And, once you hit a certain momentum with projects like this, it is very difficult for studios to pull back. And then you had the whole thing where there was a very public backlash. Oh, you didn't like, what was that? Discovery. Oh, well, you must be a racist. You must be a homophobe. You must be this, you must be that. And I think a lot of that really frightened a lot of these companies from making the hard changes that they needed to make. So that's why you had people like Kurtzman there for so long. You can make the same argument with Kathleen Kennedy for so long in the Disney Star Wars universe. Plus, I'm guessing she knew where a lot of bodies were buried. And speaking of feet things. She probably knew a lot of that stuff.
There's a lot of swamp around Central Florida.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that there's a whole lot more swamp around Disney in Central Florida than people know.
So, with Kurtzman, I think a lot of it was he was terrible, but he had, like, you see this in every big company. They're not good at their job, but they have enough chutzpah or personality to bluff their way into it at the beginning, and then it's very hard to change. So that's why I think he was there for so long, and why the things couldn't be changed with Trek. But even if they did change it, who would they get that knew what to do?
Well, there's a sense that these places, they've got a flow chart hanging on the wall, and it says, produce entertainment. Was it appreciated? Yes, no. Yes, great. Find a way to change it so that people don't like it. And the no answer is, was it your fault or is the audience racist? And they just always follow the, with the audience a bunch of chuds. We'll go this way then. They never consider the other options on the flow chart. It must be the audience's problem.
When the question is, which way will let me keep my cushy job with exorbitantly high salary? That's the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to yet again make an analogy to the church, but I will because I'm a priest. Somewhere, Vatican II, the church as a whole, because it's not just the Roman Catholic, it reverberates throughout the entire Western Church. This, modernizing, and I'm not saying the Vatican II is all bad, but like this modernizing, I said all. This modernizing trend goes through the church, and liturgies are changed. Interpretation of things is thrown open into the air, and the result, whether it's causal or coincidental, but since then to now, the church has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. And the response to it has been, well, we have to do what we've been doing harder, because that's why the church is shrinking. We haven't modernized enough. We haven't changed the liturgy enough. We haven't thrown out enough, we haven't, we're still talking too much about sin. We have to quit that. And to the point where eventually you end up with a guy dressed somewhat like a priest used to be dressed, right? Spouting bromides and pablum from the pulpit in an attempt to not offend anyone, rather than actually just. And so the Star Trek version of it is, well, they didn't like that. We must not have been far enough. Let's go further. No one has gone before.
I'm reminded of this great line. If you've never seen Ed Wood, the film with Johnny Depp, you are missing a piece of your life you didn't know. I highly recommend Ed Wood, but he's on the phone to somebody, and he's released one of his turkeys, and he's just. What is so beautiful about that movie is, at least for the duration of it, even if it's fictional. Even if it's presented in a fictional way, Depp plays the film with such zany enthusiasm, particularly after he has a talk with Orson Welles, that you can't help but like it. You can't just walk past, the dump DVD bin at Dollar General and see 10 Ed Wood movies on a DVD and not just crack a grin and enjoy it. And he's on the phone and he says, so what'd you think of my latest film? Oh, you hated it? Well, wait till you see the next one.
That's it.
Or something like, if you think you hated that one, wait till you see the next movie I make, or something to that effect. And I feel like, I feel like that's just one of those things that production companies are like, they're like, oh well, if you hated this movie, wait until you see the next one we make.
Well, and that goes to Luke Vepper's point, the whether it is intentional, deliberate demoralization as part of a systematic attack, it does seem to be that it's like the trench has been dug. You know, it's World War I. The trench has been dug, and darn it, this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
Despite the fact that clearly it's not working. Clearly it's just getting a bunch of people killed. Clearly we're not gaining any ground. We're not losing any ground. We're just sitting here taking shots at each other. Yeah, we move 20 feet. It's a big deal. Like, we're dug in now, and we're going to keep doing it. And if we abandon this, then they win, and we can't let them win, right?
That's right. We can't
You
let
know,
the terrorists win.
If my political enemy comes out with a cure for cancer, I am going to start chain smoking, because I'll be damned if I'm going to let that enemy get one up on me, right? You know,
It's the absolute truth, man. It's the absolute truth. So
so whether
yeah.
it's part of an organized thing or not, the effect ends up being the same. Like,
Well,
you'll just eat more of it.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know that the Soviets, before the collapse in the 1980s, said, we must get the Star Trek. If we can corrupt that, the West will be ours. But you can see, like, when nobody knows what a bad guy is, when there's no common sense of morality, when there's no focus on meritocracy, such as good writers write good scripts, getting good actors. This is the result. So was this specifically part of the plan? I don't know, but it's the result of whatever that plan was.
They got a good actor, Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, he's great.
It's like a Buick swatting a fly in that. I mean,
yeah.
What did you bring him in for that? But oh well. I hope he made a lot of money. I hope he made a lot of money.
And one thing that we have neglected to mention, let's see, here we go. This is the
Brilliant.
one. The stream of action figure Spock on a chair blew their viewers away, and I believe it was Nerdrotic. And I think at the time, he had basically 3 times the amount of viewers for just a doll of Spock, Leonard Nimoy Spock, sitting on the back of an office chair for an hour.
You just set it up there for an hour.
Which really tells you where to go. Unfortunately, I think that studios are going to take the wrong lesson from this. They're going to say, oh, we can make this much cheaper and get the same amount of views and just make everything pure AI. Right. They'll be doing like Bing or Grok or Gemini AI to get like the starship battle scenes. Like, oh, we don't need that anymore.
Yeah. I said on socials, because someone posted a link, and of course I don't have it because I'm bad at my job, but someone shared up a picture showing that the showing of the first episode on YouTube only net 17,000 views.
Yeah.
And my response was, if you want to watch something that's more popular, come and watch these videos on my YouTube channel. They have way more than 17,000 views. You can come over to the Delver's Dungeon and see videos that have got 30, 40, 50, 60,000 views, 70,000 views.
And I'm willing to bet that 50% of those views on your shorts aren't people watching it just so they can tear it apart in a review.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
Most of what the Trek watches.
Yeah, I highly doubt anyone sits down and says, I'm gonna hate watch Dungeon Master. I'm gonna hate watch Yang and Zhao. I'm gonna hate watch.
Though if you
I
want
disagree,
to come,
I have some of those.
If you want to come hate watch me, I still get the views. So come on by.
Yeah. Down. That is one thing that I tell people. It is fun, particularly if people have the return down votes plugin for their browsers that actually shows how many how badly stuff gets ratioed. By the way, get the Brave web browser and get that plugin, guys. It's hilarious to go to the latest Disney slop or Trek slop or whatever and look at their trailers and see it's like 7.9K upvotes, like 123,000 downvotes. But here's the thing, YouTube doesn't care.
No.
If I woke up,
if
I woke up tomorrow, if I woke up tomorrow and I had 20,000 downvotes on every one of my videos and they were not botted, it would kind of make me laugh because that's attention. That's attention. That is literally just you feeding the YouTube algorithm. That you had to click to my video to do that. So yeah. So 20 million people versus 500,000 people downvotes to upvotes on a video is funny, but it's not necessarily productive.
Yeah, I just yesterday I had someone who left a comment on a video I did like 5 years ago, and it just said AI swill, and it's like, what? Who had AI 5 years ago?
5 years ago,
I wish I had it.
Yeah, I had an extended argument with a guy who thought that I was making all sorts of money on this. That it was typical of a Christian who's and like every time you come to leave a comment, that's another hit because you have to come to the video to do it.
Yeah. See, I like to keep them riled up for just a little bit, and then after like the 5th or 6th comment, I'll be like, thanks for the integration or the interaction.
Yeah. I had that happen the other day because I churn the YouTube shorts and a guy was like oh, your AI voice generation doesn't sound so great. It sounds a little flat. It's not quite there yet. Try harder. It's like AI voice. That's hilarious. AI voice generation. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Did you know that this is actually the way I make my voice sound when I do my YouTube shorts?
Speaking of making your voice sound all manly, this week, the He-Man trailer has dropped.
He-Man.
Can I? Nope, that's not. All right, we'll go back to this one. So we will just skip a little bit through this guy here, and it's clearly very 3D oriented, which God help us.
Don't show too much because we can't get copyright struck for.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, but we also don't make any money. So let me just find a nice the one. Nope, not that one. Wait, think that. Oh. Is it not here? What's going on?
That's a picture of people watching remakes of.
There we go.
That's
what I wanted to go here. Well, first of all, gentlemen, what do you think about He-Man? Now, we haven't had a He-Man live action movie since Dolph Lundgren. Which I have to say is kind of awesome in its own way. I don't know if that's an awesome He-Man movie, but it's kind of awesome.
Do you mean it's awesome that we haven't had one, or that movie was awesome? Clarity here.
You know what? If you made that movie today, we would say it's brilliant compared to most of what's out there.
Yeah.
So I missed He-Man. Basically, He-Man rolled out at a time when I was pivoting away from playing with action figures and stuff like that. I got an Atari 2600, then a VIC-20, and I just went electronic. And I never, age 13 onward, I discovered Cars and Girls and Dungeons and Dragons and just did not pay much mind anymore to He-Man. So He-Man was never in my wheelhouse as far as things that steered my childhood, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it that it is Star Wars for a lot of fellow Gen Xers who, I just turned 56 yesterday. So, if you're, thank you, if you're in your 50s or even your late 40s, that kind of Gen Xer, perfect example. Our buddies over at Nerd Cognito, Ryan, is a huge He-Man fan. And so it's
Thundercats.
Into Thundercats. Well, we found the furry in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey now, they were cool.
And we found the furry on the council, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, yeah, no. So it's it was never in my wheelhouse. I was like, oh, that's the kids' toy thing. But I appreciate it.
I had Skull Mountain with the
the big
yes, I remember that
wow.
one with the snake thing around it, right?
Yep. The snake and the microphone with the wolf's head microphone to make your voice all Skeletor. Yeah.
That was if you were not into G.I. Joe, that was like your USS Flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
The giant aircraft carrier. But so this not being in my wheelhouse, but here's the thing. Again, I appreciate it. So when people were just raging about Kevin Smith's not He-Man show, I understood. I got it. I watched the clips. I saw I saw She-Ra, who had a Karen side Manic Pixie buzz cut, and I think I could be wrong about this, was a lesbian in that. I understood. I felt your pain because I saw the same thing get done to Star Wars. I saw the same thing being done to Dungeons and Dragons. I felt their pain. As far as this trailer goes, I mean, personally, this is my 2 cents. I think the he-him thing is meant as parody. I think it's meant as a joke.
Yeah.
He-Man. That's
yeah.
I don't have that much hope based on what Hollywood's been doing for the last 10 years. That being said, this could end up being fun. Again, who was He-Man originally for? It was for kids.
Yeah.
So basically, I was smack in the middle of the correct age for He-Man when he came out the first time. So I think they're in some ways trying to reset this movie to make it for younger kids, but make it for like dads to take their sons or, maybe daughters too, whatever. So it can sort of like jump the generational market, which to me, it sounds like a good idea. So far, I haven't seen anything that was really disrespectful. Now it's only been one trailer, so give them time, boys. Give them time.
Oh, they'll get there.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but it's true though. They can't lose them all, right? I mean, eventually, even if they try, they're going to make something that's decent.
I mean, there's stuff that is just going to blow goats right out of the chute. And I mean, you have we all knew Ghostbusters in 2016 was going to suck. We all knew it was going to suck. We saw the first trailer. There was no question of, oh, well, maybe this could be good. No, we knew that it was going to both suck and blow. And it was the same with Snow White. It was the same with what
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
There's nothing they have not pillaged. I don't think. I mean, they've made new Smurf movies.
Not the Sarah Michelle Gellar Scooby-Doos with like Freddie Prinze Jr.
No, I'm talking about the Thelma.
Velma. Yeah.
Velma is
there anything? I mean, Silverhawk, someone mentioned, loved that.
Yeah,
that was a little too B-list. The Thundercats was the A-list. They haven't done a Thundercats precisely because it would be really hard to do a live-action Thundercats and not have it come off looking like furry stuff. So I think that's why they haven't gone there. But they did. I mean, they did Cats, and that was horrific. So But
Old School Gamer says, I want an AI cartoon of Ronald Reagan beating the tar out of Captain Planet in a 1v1
Yes.
paintball fight. Just go to Grok and ask for it. You'll get it.
you probably will, yeah.
It'll be like a 5-second clip, but you'll get it.
Thundar hasn't been done yet.
Thundar hasn't been done. Bit of trivia though about He-Man. Everybody wanted to grab the next hey, thank you very much, Immortal Rising Comic Books. If you haven't liked and subscribed Nerd Council of Doom, please open the Nerd Council of Doom tab and like and subscribe over there, please. But bit of trivia, some folks may not know this, but He-Man, the action figure, was actually intended because Mattel wanted a property to tie into a really popular science fiction or fantasy movie. And here comes Conan the Barbarian. Mm-hmm. And so they called up their toy people. They said, we want the license for this. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we'll start making dolls. And they made a mold, and it was a brawny thewed barbarian guy with the Atlantean sword. Look at He-Man's sword and look at the Atlantean sword. The similarities are there. And then they watched the movie. They watched Conan Shtup. They watched his implied relations when he was being imprisoned by the game masters.
Action figures they couldn't make, not in the
80s. Probably what got them was in like the first 5 minutes when Conan's mom battle
action decapitation. Boink.
Exactly. That's probably what did it. But you got to imagine that they came out of that at the end, and it starts and ends with a decapitation, right?
Yeah.
He's got the broken his father's broken sword. He doesn't cut James Earl Jones's head off. He chops it off a few blows at a time. That they came out of that going, oh my God, we spent all this R&D on the toys. What do we do?
Well, but the thing is, just a few years later, less than a decade later, you have them making RoboCop toys and RoboCop cartoon shows for kids. And the same with Aliens and Predator. So at some point they were like, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, well, they made the RoboCop cartoon, right? Even Ghostbusters, they made real Ghostbusters, and then they made the action figures of the cartoon. Because in the actual movie, it's not anywhere near Conan, which my mother took me to in the theater when I was 11, 10, something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. But, what mom think of wifing Dungeon Minister?
Oh, good heavens. It was what, 1981 something? She was probably stoned. 82. She was probably stoned, so I don't know that she noticed.
Okay.
But so they made the cartoon version and brought it out. But that's interesting. I didn't know that about the He-Man toys. It kind of explains for me. I liked the toys, but did not care for the cartoon. Never watched it. Liked the toys though, but not the cartoon.
So we have a question on Twitter from Acolyte Michael Dale. Now this was to Grok, but I think it's interesting to answer. What's your personal opinion on the inclusion of the he, him pronoun plate? We kind of got to that. What do you think of using Earth as a jumping off point for a movie? In my opinion, should be portrayed entirely from Eternia. Is laziness on the part of the writers or what?
I think that we're gonna start it from this point and then move forward. I think that's a fairly common trope. It doesn't bother me, what else is as bad of a movie as it was? Still, the Super Mario Brothers movie did that, and then you got I'm going blank. Wreck-It Ralph, was kind of crossing the streams over. It's just a trope. I don't think it's good or bad, and I think it. The Lego movie, and at the end of the day, to kind of quote Orson Welles, he said, it's a movie about toys that do terrible things to other toys. So, it doesn't, but it doesn't bother me as much as other things that they could do to drive a stake into the heart of stuff that people love.
Yeah. Someone was asking about if anyone remembered the original Ghostbusters, the guy in the gorilla suit. Yes, and then the cartoon based on it, which is why they had to put the word "real" on Ghostbusters when they made the cartoon, because there was already a Ghostbusters cartoon. It was just a remake of the whole GoBots Transformers thing from earlier.
Yep. Yeah.
But one thing I would point out. Wait, I'm sorry, Dungeon Minister. Did you just mention the original live action Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I just wanted to make sure I'd heard you right and not step on you. But
yeah, no, he had the gorilla suit guy who was the driver for some reason.
Yes.
You gotta have
Larry
a gorilla drive.
Storch. Larry Storch is basically the two guys from F Troop.
Mhm.
Were the main characters in the live action Ghostbusters. So
Crazy stuff.
yes, indeed.
And why is He-Man nearly naked but Tila completely dressed?
80s, 1980s. That's
It
why.
was never a loincloth.
Sorry, I had to.
Oy, Gavalt.
Oh,
You will never be able to unsee that. Yes, Bob Jester, Larry Storch, and Forrest Tucker.
for anyone who's actually interested, the He-Man toys used to come with a miniature-sized comic book.
Yes.
If you can find the comics from the original run of He-Man toys, so like He-Man, Skeletor, I think Stratos, Merman, those guys, they were awesome and nothing like what the story became. He-Man was an actual barbarian running around in the jungles of Eternia in a loincloth and a spear. And it is very much like those Conan the Barbarian stories. If you can find them, I highly recommend it. It's got to be on the internet somewhere.
Yeah, there's got to be scans of it, but yeah, it was, I like you say, it was not like the toys. I tell the same people the thing about the same thing about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
TMNT from Laird and Eastman, when it first rolled out, was violent. It was profane. It was not for kids. It was an edgy indie comic. Yeah, it was tongue in cheek and a parody of Frank Miller's Ronin comic that had dropped, I think, right around the same time. But yeah, TMNT was not a cutesy cowabunga dudes. Let's eat pizza.
I mean, it was grim.
Yeah, they were decapitated. Like foot soldiers were not just mooks that got pushed back and wrapped up in giant pieces of bubble gum that got shot out of the hilt of a sword. Like the turtles were murdering these guys in droves to get to Shredder. So yeah, it was not just like the He-Man comics, mini comics. It was very different when it first began.
Yep.
Yes, the black and white TMNT, and if you like can lay your hands on the actual ones, those things very, 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 very quickly got exceptionally expensive.
I had one,
Ooh.
not firsthand. I had a whole batch of comic books that someone gave me, but I didn't like what the turtles had become, and so I just went, eh.
Yeah. So yes, He-Man, I say, hey, what is going on? We'll have to wait and see.
I know. Well, I think that brings us to a point in a galaxy far, far away.
And getting further.
Kathleen Kennedy has decided to hang up the shoes.
I feel a disturbance in the force.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
millions of nerds cried out in triumph.
And then they announced Dave Filoni will be taking over. So my question is, do we care anymore? And just how bad is this going to get?
Don't ask that, because they take it as a challenge.
Yeah, it can absolutely get terrible. And I think it's family reasons that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving. It seems that someone dropped a house on her sister, and she's a little heartbroken about that. But so one of the programs that we are going to allow people to continue to view after our takeover of all broadcast media will be, of course, because we'll be too busy running the planet. We will allow you guys to tune into the Critical Drinker, and his little 15-minute documentary on Kathleen Kennedy should tell you all you know, because I've had people come to me and say, yeah, Bill, I get it. The shows aren't great, but she just wants to make something that people like. And she's pulled in a lot. No. I'm not. Yeah. No, you go look at, she literally memed the girl boss meme all the time. She was supposed to be in production meetings with Lucas and Spielberg taking notes, and she would just say, no, we should do this with the story. We should do something completely different with the story. And why these two titans of industry put up with her is utterly and completely beyond me, but I can't, sorry, my fingers were itching. But I can't imagine why they tolerated her nonsense, her shenanigans for so long, but she just kept failing upwards until she took a money printing machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
A money print, literally take 5 tropes from adventure films from 1960 to 1930 and adventure books from the same period. Mm-hmm. Stack them into the machine, close the door, twist the latch, push the button, money falls out. That's what Star Wars did.
Yep. Yeah, you could have just taken Errol Flynn movies and remade them in space.
Yep.
Endlessly.
And she broke it.
The idea that she wanted to make something that people liked, I could believe once. Yeah. Maybe twice, but it was just repeated. It was clear that this was just an act of cultural destruction.
Her open hostility towards I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. Her open hostility towards men. Her open hostility towards men, and the way she put those shows and those films together. It's mind-boggling. Mm. She stood out there with her production crew with, the force is female. They all had, the force is female, you're not welcome here anymore. We're taking it. Don't tell me, do not sit there and tell me that, Bill, it's not about getting rid of you. It's about bringing other people in. Imagine if we all did the NCOD and we showed up next month wearing t-shirts that say "We hate girls." What would we'd be done? Even as niche as our reach is, we'd be done. We'd be pilloried, and rightly so. Yep. And rightly so. And Kathleen Kennedy, it's Dave Filoni, Jorge is who's in charge now. It's she stood up there and said, it's not for you. If you're a boy, it's not for you. So we're just,
and then like 2 months later, why are people not coming to see this movie?
Yeah, going to femcel sites like the Mary Sue and so on, and saying, hey, you need to drum up some. If you're a guy and you're not watching this, you're a sexist and a misogynist. Okay, pump out some articles like that, after doing shit like this.
Mhm.
I just it's mind-boggling that this woman was allowed to control Star Wars, and it's like, oh hey, look, here's Rey, and she's a chick, but she's better than the guy. Dude, what is her introduction to Princess Leia in Star Wars after she puts the floppy into R2D2? She whips her around and cornholes a stormtrooper between the eyes.
Yep.
She stands up to Darth Vader,
Yes.
a guy who could literally just be,
And Governor Tarkin too.
who and
Toe-to-toe.
arguably at that point in the Star Wars series, Tarkin had more pull than Vader.
Yep.
He totally
Tarkin was scarier than Vader. People were more afraid of what Tarkin would do. Vader might slice you up. Okay.
Yeah.
Vader might lightsaber you through the heart and say, take this guy down to food reprocessing.
Yeah.
Tarkin would bomb planets out of existence
literally.
if they stepped out of line. And he did so to open the movie.
Well, and he was played by Peter Cushing.
And he's played by
mean,
Peter Cushing.
You don't get more terrifying than that, especially if you hear the original audio from Peter Mayhew, not Peter Mayhew, David Prowse as Vader.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want those
So-
hands, and I want.
And so who do we have staring up at him, looking like she's ready to spit in his eye? Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carrie Fisher, an action hero. She throws shade at Han Solo, says, fuck your rescue.
Yep.
She snatches the blaster out of Han's arms and shoots her the hole in the wall so they can get out of there. I mean, we had badass female Star Wars action hero.
Bob Jester,
didn't
I
even-
think that makes him more frightening. Bob Jester. That makes him more frightening.
He had
Yes. Slippers.
the riding boots that he had to wear like hurt his
Too
feet.
tight.
The costume shoes were too tight, so he just asked George, it's like, how is this going to be blocked? Well, waist up. Cool. Excellent, thank you for telling me. Here he comes in fuzzy slippers.
Even he was not barefoot on the deck of a starship.
Yes.
Even
Sorry.
Yes.
Gonna drag that back in.
So
Ula,
I mean,
poor Ula in Jabba's palace, she had sandals on. Sorry.
Wearing something.
I mean, one question for me is, can it ever be saved? Because we did have one property in the Disney Star Wars canon, which for whatever reason was not touched by KK, which was the Andor series, which is possibly the best TV series in the last 10 years. If you haven't seen Andor season 1 and 2, go watch it. It is fantastic. It pays respect and keeps the vibe of the original Star Wars universe, but it has a totally different take on it because it's from the point of the average person, which is what exactly the Empire did that was bad, other than being bad. We never really see even in the original movies, but here, like, they flush it out of like why the tyranny is so bad and what drove people into blowing up government buildings and stuff. Absolutely fantastic. But do you guys think it can ever be saved? Andor itself did not do that well in views, and I think a lot of that is due to people just being like, screw Star Wars.
I think it can, because I thought, and I'm gonna draw some hate from this because I do when I'm on my own live stream or just talking to people in general. I thought Rogue One was an excellent film.
It was. I found it decent. I wouldn't say excellent, but I thought it was a pretty good movie. It was fun.
I just might be
Star Wars.
I just might be system shocked from the Nilogy and the Solo movie.
Yeah, it could be
And
comparative, right?
It could be compared, like
when it bounces up to only 3 below, and you go, ooh, get t-shirt weather.
Yeah, when the snow starts to melt, your brain goes, it's warm now, but I feel like that was okay. But I mean, if we can hang our hats on the first season and a half of Mandalorian, and or
Yeah.
which I haven't seen it yet, but I'm a big fan of it because I like Boolean math. And if you got that joke,
Andor.
you may be too much of a nerd even for,
It's not. It
for
does
this
sound like
audience.
something out of the original Tron movie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. But Andor, again, the first season and a half of or even the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, and Rogue One, I think there may be some saving it, but we're gonna have to see some post Death of Stalin level purges of ideologies and individuals in terms of hey, it's been great working with you. I mean, maybe pivot and go back to Marvel, who they own most of anyway, and go back to the writers who created the EU, which, well, let's be generous, was kind of uneven. But still, people loved the Thrawn trilogy. People loved the Han Solo trilogy. Hell, people like Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Go back to those people and say, I think we can spend a little bit of money and pay you guys to let us recycle your ideas. I think if they can do that, it's savable. If they can, if on this path they continue, only destruction will they find. That's my 2 cents, fellow council members.
Yeah, like, can they? Possibly. Should they? I don't know. I sort of feel like, just for the health of the culture, we should do new stuff. We should try other stories. All this endless remaking, this endless nostalgia, dredging up of He-Man and Scooby-Doo and everything. I feel like at some point, if that's what we want, we should go back and watch the originals of the old stuff, the old cartoons, the old TV shows, and maybe as a society we should start telling new stories. Like, let's find something fresh to talk about. But then on the other hand, Shakespeare is nothing but a reworking of mythology and other stories that he heard. So it just feels like we've gotten
the sun, man.
something to do with the sun. We just feel like we've gotten into such a rut that it isn't, they're remaking He-Man. It's, they finally got around to remaking that. I guess it'll be Thundercats next once they get the fur thing worked out and whether or not to show the cat's butthole, because that was weird. And then it's going to be Silverhawks. Oh, that'll be a lot easier because they're just all in silver. Much easier.
I'm sorry, Dungeon Minister. Whose butthole did we see in Thundercats?
No, in Cats, the Cats movie.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
They
release the
didn't.
butthole edition.
They didn't, but it was a big thing about how to do these cats, because if you've ever owned a cat, you know that at least 30% of the time they're showing you their butthole, right?
Yes.
That's just a cat.
30% is a low estimate.
The asterisk, right? The little asterisk. Yeah. And so it was like, well, what are we doing when Rum Tum Tugger turns up stage? What do we do?
I say release the butthole edition.
The butthole edition. Well, I think,
So JJ says, unless I'm wrong, did I see an announcement of a Darth Maul presentation film or show? Yes, there is a new cartoon show with Darth Maul, which I think is supposed to be kind of sort of based on Shadows of the Empire. They're going to come out, but they did already kill him. I think it was in the Rebels cartoon show, which is after they killed him in A Phantom Menace.
Yeah, not to mention that he sliced in half. That's kind of dead. Well, somehow the Emperor survived. Somehow Darth Maul survived.
Well, I mean, so I think the thing so he fell down the shaft, which is, by the way, that is 40% to 40 to 48% of Jedi and Sith die by falling down shafts. Yes. I just Palpatine, Luke, Darth Maul, just that right down. If you're a Jedi and you go into a room and somebody's like, now I will strike you down and be like, let's go outside. Let's go all the way outside and fight on like a football field sized arena and, with handrails. Cause I'm not, no.
Then the planet starts to crack apart.
Yeah. Then the planet opens up. But yeah, so they I think the implication is when the dust settled, because he was cauterized, right? Because you can just lose everything from your pelvis down.
Yeah.
And as long as it's cauterized, you're fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. So they Palpatine sent people down that he could still sense him or something like that, and they slapped some robo legs on him, and then he got killed again, and then he got saved again, and so the guy is like
yes,
he's like that palmetto bug you see and you brain it with a shovel, and you're like there, and then you see it scuttle another feet, and so you stomp on it, you're like there, and then it scuttles another couple of feet. You get the shovel and cut it in half, and like the front half of it continues to scuttle. That's what Darth Maul's like.
Here in Canada, we don't have palmetto bugs. We have the Liberal government. Same thing. You think you've squashed
Boom! It. Getting a little political with us there.
You'll be getting a visit tonight, Dungeon Minister.
Crawling.
Yeah, somebody's going to swing by your house and say, "You feeling depressed, Dungeon Minister? I've got a pamphlet for you here. Would you consider this?"
I am still holding out hope there will be a Robotech series at some point. Not that I'm holding out hope. Not that I'm holding out hope it'll be done well. No, I gotta go Robotech, man. They had 3 series in one. That's like a value pack.
Dint of calling it Robotech, it already won't be done well. You either give me Macross or don't.
Well, the answer is don't, because the Japanese control Macross, and if you've ever seen what they do to their live action shows, it's horrific.
Yeah, I always do this, and I feel terrible because they have an absolutely amazing channel here on YouTube. Secret Toy Galaxy or Secret Galaxy did an episode all about Macross, Robotech, everything, that whole licensing nightmare that is that. And honestly, I don't think in our lifetime we're ever going to see that get untangled.
Nope.
I mean, just ever. It's why if you go on Amazon, I would love a Valkyrie, I would love a Tomahawk, or even just like a little 1/8000 scale SDF-1 model kit. I'll go on Amazon, $89. Well, not because it's imported from Japan. Because if you go to Hobby Link Japan, it's still going to cost you a shit ton of money because of the licensing tied up. More. I was in Japan
2 Mays ago, and about the size of this pen, they had like a really cool Valkyrie with all the battle armor, and I was like, oh, I'd like to get that, and that was $89, and I was like, I don't like it that much.
one of the rare cases when I say, look, Yang, I'm serious, I'm telling you right now, if you'd like one, I will 3D print you one. I will 3D print a Valkyrie, and you can paint it up and set it on your desk, because that is absolute. I will have to look and see. I have let me see. I have a 3D printed one that is up over here somewhere, but we'll talk. We'll talk after the show, and I'll see about getting you a Macross 3D print.
There have to be plans of them out there, because when I was a kid, I had a beta fighter from the Invid Saga or Mospedia, whichever you.
Thank you, Genesis Climber Mospedia.
Yes,
I'm leaving out. Thank you.
It was a model kit that I put together, and it transformed. So somewhere out there must be plans that are just ripe for the 3D picking.
If you okay, so for those of you out there who might be interested, if you go to a website, this is not an endorsement, called printables.com, and just do a search for Macross. They've got flat prints, which are just like kids' toys. You know, they print flat and you slot them together. And then they've got fully detailed stuff that you can print at any scale. I'm looking at a Gerwalk Valkyrie, just a whole bunch. VF1 and Batroid mode. So many Macross model kits out there. So yes, Yang, we can do it. Talk to me about it and we'll make it happen.
Excellent. Then we'll make full-scale versions for our
exactly. I was watching a car resto website, and they had a fairly plain Jane Porsche Boxster that they deconstructed, and they used like 5 or 10 Bamboo 3D printers and printed like a Le Mans body for it. They literally just 3D printed it and hot glued it and fiberglass batting. They used
don't drive in the American South, you know.
When you hot glue 3D prints, depending on your temperature and everything, it actually melts the plastic together, not like you know, the glue isn't the only thing. But yeah, they 3D printed a car, which brings us back to that old anti-piracy meme. You wouldn't download a car. Fuck yes, I'd download a car. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. It reminds me of when I used to live in China. So this was like 20 years ago, right? They would have like on TV people doing like amazing sciencey things, and they had Sanlunche, which is like a sort of like a motor cross between a motorcycle and a pickup truck. So the back had 2 wheels, and it had like a pickup truck bed. And it's what they would give disabled people, and disabled people's jobs was hauling stuff. So some guy, he took one of those, and he fashioned a Lamborghini body out of sheet metal. And it was like, it was half ghetto, half awesome. And it was on the news. It was on the national news when I was over there. Like, oh, look at this inventive farmer out in, you know, whatever province. And he had like, you know, flashlights where there should be headlights. And I mean, it was kind of awesome.
That's great. The fun idiotic things you can do with even a filament printer. Dungeon Minister, we have got to get you a filament printer.
There is literally no space to put it.
You have a basement.
No, I've just recently filled that basement full of stuff, and now there's no room. All of the room that's down there is now my studio. That's it.
And we're gonna get you a 200 by 220 by 180 3D footprint printer, and you can start filling it with other stuff.
Can't you rope off like the first 2 pews?
Just during church. Never mind that.
Open up your hymnals to number 432. How great thou art. Never
mind that now. I'm finding out what 432 is. Let's see.
Oh my gosh, if it's how great thou art, I'm gonna.
It's not, I'm pretty sure. No. Okay. Jesus calls us over the tumult.
Fitting.
Yeah.
Jesus calls us over the tumult.
We should make that the unofficial theme song for the show.
Oh man.
So, Brother Delver.
Yes.
How is your belly after the wonderful cuisine of Philadelphia?
Yes. Okay, so I have to say, I think if you get a Philly in Philadelphia, that's kind of the bog standard. It was delicious. We had a con guest and volunteer banquet at the Hilton there by the Civic Center in Philly, and it was very tasty. I sat. This is one of those things that one of the things is absolutely so wonderful about the TTRPG hobby is, for the most part, the airs that the leaders and founders of our hobbies don't put on. Like, I mean, imagine it's 1980. I want to sit down and have lunch with Stan Lee. Good luck, kid. Excelsior, and he's roped off and got, a million people taking pictures and that sort of thing. At dinner, the cheesesteak dinner at the con, it's like, okay, here's the artist Darlene, who did the Greyhawk map and so many other beautiful pieces of art. To my right, over across the table from me is Jeff D, who did the Elric illustrations and so many more in Deities and Demigods. And here's Alan Hammock, who wrote some, and Heidi Gygax. And it's just like we're all just hanging out, having a good time, And who am I? I'm nobody, right? So we had our cheesesteak supper that was fantastic. And as far as the rest of the food, there was like a cafe attached to the or a canteen rather attached to the civic center there. I think for the most part the food was okay, but the burgers were like stone cold. They had them under a heat lamp, but the cafe part I think was on the outer wall, like their back wall was the outer wall of the place. And so it was like, yeah, let me get a burger and fries. And by the time I walk over to a table in the little food court area, it was like, take it back over there. Could you put this in the microwave? Which just rubberized it. But no, the Philly cheesesteaks were good. As far as the convention goes, I when I was not working, because I did have to go up there and do interviews and stuff in the interview booth, just roaming around. It was a really great convention. It's huge, guys. I have to say it's my idea of huge. I would say there were a couple thousand people there. There were multiple vendor areas. I was saying this before, like when I go to a con, I like to go to a vendor area and shop, just slowly browse. And while I like small cons, it's always just a little bit of, when I go to a vendor area and it's like three, there's the convention owner, they're selling swag. There's a dude from a local comic shop, and then there's somebody who like crafts stuff in their basement. It's like you can do that in like 2 minutes, and then you've got other stuff you need to find to do. So I like an even distribution of I'm gaming and I'm checking out the vendor area. So they had 3 massive vendor halls and a lot of cool people there. I played a pretty good game of Horde Wars. The game itself is good. The Horde Wars, if you guys haven't played it, unsolicited endorsement. I liked it. If I'm going to say it like that, I got to say, it was huge. The convention was huge. Let me tell you, maybe some of the convention goers were not good people.
That's more Jerry Lewis.
That's the best you get. All right.
Alrighty, I'm the president, and so I need Greenland.
With a thing, and give me I want the frozen island. It's very cold. But no, the vendor halls were very nice. They were nicely split up, and I gotta relate this story. And a lot of you people watching have heard this now probably 4 times from me, but I believe in dungeon ministry. You probably do too. And Yang, whether you want to call it God, fate, kismet, call it what you will. But I think the universe or God or whoever has us be in certain places at certain times to do certain things. There was a woman there, and she was selling most of her thing. Most of what she was selling were crocheted fantasy monsters. Here's a knit beholder. Here's a knit dragon, that sort of things. But she had like 4 boxes of classic D&D products, that she was
Mhm.
selling. And for the most part, the prices were about on par with what you could expect from eBay, no low ballers, I know what I got level of stuff. And it had belonged to her father who had passed away. And her uncle was supposed to be helping her with the pricing on it. And I think he just kind of went through eBay and clicked on recently completed and said, yeah, we'll put that price on that. But as I was looking through her stacks, because she had better prices than other people who were selling vintage RPG stuff, a lot of them were selling completely clapped out books and asking like north of $100 for them, which I think is a little ridiculous. But she had a very, 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 very early printing of the Dungeon Master, or of the Monster Manual. And she was only asking like I think $65 for it or $80 for it. It to a collector, I know, puppy, it was sad. To a collector, that book was worth potentially many hundreds of dollars, because they did not run a whole bunch of those prints, because those early prints had a lot of errata in them. I did a short about that a few days ago. That book and some other books she had, I asked her to come over and I showed them to her and I said, you really could be doing a lot better on these prices. And I showed her a few valuation websites. She talked to me about her dad who had recently passed away, and she was struggling because she's on disability. She's like, I've kept the things I love, but I have boxes and boxes of this stuff. And she mentioned that she had things that were autographed by Gary Gygax, that she had a white, one of the white box OD&D sets like this one I've got. And I said, look, if you find that stuff here, I said, type your phone number in and and basically you will text yourself from my phone and I will give you the links to this. So you can hopefully, get this stuff out there and make a few bucks. And I feel like, if nothing else, cold hamburgers, working the interview booth, if for no other reason, if that was why I was at the con, to tell her, hey, you can do better with this pricing and hopefully, get yourself into a better position, then it was worth the trip. So that was a very positive encounter. But in the overall, the convention itself, playing games, I ran into a lot of fans of the Delver's Dungeon, and I shouted both you guys out when I was live streaming up there, of course.
Thank you.
And the Nerd Council of Doom. I shouted all of this out. It was a good con. It was a good convention. Cold as hell, freezing cold, wintry death. The frost giants and white dragons were on the march, and I hated that. There.
Yeah, just be glad you weren't there this weekend.
I know.
Yeah.
It's worse now. It's like, oh, look, oxygen is falling out of the sky as a solid.
Well, gentlemen, is there anything more that we should add, or?
Well, I think we may have thoroughly thrashed all the various remakes that have been trotted out.
Yeah.
Just talk on.
I don't have anything myself. I do want to Odd ping me on social media. I will try and see if we can get your 2E core books and supplements into someone's hands.
Yeah, ping me. I might be interested in those.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Councilman Yang will acquire your books, and I think that is. I think you'll allow him. I think you'll allow him some extra ration tickets.
Sorry, someone had the temerity
yes.
to walk past our house. Sorry.
Oh,
how dare they?
Yes. And for everyone, if you have not yet, click the thumbs up on this video, regardless of if you are watching it on the Dungeon Delvers channel or at the Nerd Council of Doom. And if you are not watching it at the Nerd Council of Doom, go there right now, click the thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel to make sure that you get every possible opportunity to catch the show. Yes, if you are on Dungeon Delvers Discord server, you can find me there. And we cannot hear you, Brother Minister.
Forgot I turned it
Brother,
off
Father,
because of the
Minister.
dog. Just as a note, they we got some pictures of Bill at the con, and they've actually put together a miniature of him making his way with the burgers. You know.
Yes, that was me. After I bit into one of the burgers there, it just immediately, I felt a little blue.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. We will adjourn the meeting this month. Next month, we will perhaps revisit our Fembot ideas.
Well, it'll be
in
close
honor,
to Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Yes, in honor for Valentine's Day. So we will discuss them then. So for everyone, keep your secrets. Don't let them know, except let them know about the Nerd Council of Doom, which they should watch right here.
Tell them all about it.
Absolutely. Post the link up before we dip. We had a request for it. Death Angel said, "What's the link?"
Let's see. Let's do. Nope. It is
HTTPS
right. Yeah.
://www. YouTube.
That is assuming I spelled everything correctly.
Nerd Council of Doom.
Yes. Somehow it came out correct. And
the Nerd Council of F Doom.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's fine. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.